Last night in college basketball, in Big 12 basketball, namely, we learned once again that BYU is good. UCF is completely and utterly out of the conversation for March Madness. We already knew that, but we know it even more now. And Texas Tech has cojones. That's the word that I'm going to use for it. Texas Tech fought a game that was down to the very wire. We have almost 50% of the games in this conference end within a 5-point margin. That is how tight the basketball is in this league. And watching this BYU Baylor game, TCU Texas Tech games, they were down to the nitty gritty. I thought that Baylor had a legitimate shot at the very end. I said on Ben Criddle's show on ESPN 960 AM yesterday in Salt Lake that BYU would win by 8-10. I think the Marriott Center is worth that much against a team like Baylor that isn't an elite defensive team like Houston was when those two squads, the Cougars and the Cougars, played a while back. I thought that BYU would actually cruise a little bit more than they did. And toward the end of this game, I'm looking at the box score going, wait a second, Baylor shooting 50%? I mean, they sat around that spot for a while in this game, finished at 49%, 5 for 20 from three, and they couldn't rebound the basketball, but they were still in it. BYU had the opportunity to put Baylor away in this game. 14 for 36 from the three-point line is good. That's great. 39% when you're shooting 36 threes. BYU, that'll do it for you. 44%. BYU takes 15 more shots, gets 9 more rebounds than the Bears, 12 more assists, 20-8 is the final assist count there. But the Cougars lose the points in the paint battle. They lose the fast break points battle. They lose the free throw battle 16-6. 21 attempts for Baylor, 16 makes, 9 attempts for BYU. They made 6. The more physical team was BYU, and Ali Khalifa showed that. However, that didn't exactly work out to BYU's favor as much as I thought it should have. I was ready for BYU to put Baylor away, to get up by 15 to put Baylor away at the end of this game, and they just couldn't seem to do it. Now, you could argue the officiating wasn't great for either side. What's new? I thought the Texas Tech and TCU game actually was pretty solid. But in this one, it was just sloppy, and it felt like there was no rhythm toward the end of this game. But BYU showed that even when they play kind of clunky basketball in some areas, that they're going to struggle to blow teams out. They can struggle to blow teams out. And in March Madness, that can come back to bite you. You've already got that loss, 93-83 against Oklahoma State. You barely snuck past UCF. You barely beat Kansas State. I need to see BYU going into March blow teams out. When you shoot 15 more shots than somebody else, I need to see you blow that team out. I like Mark Pope. I like his team. But you can't play March Madness at home. Defense travels. I thought the defense was not bad. Holding Baylor to 71 points is good, but you've got to capitalize. You shoot 15 more shots than your opponent and get 9 more rebounds. TCU, Texas Tech, this was a colossal fall apart from TCU at the very end of this game. I mean, as I'm watching, I'm thinking, there's no way Jamie Dixon's team finds a way to fall apart at the very end of this one. Texas Tech shot below 40%, shot 5 less shots than TCU. Made 4 less shots, only made 1 more three-pointer. It was the free throw game. And both of these teams are pretty good free throw shooting teams, but 86% from Texas Tech. In a contest where the Red Raiders were out-rebounded 49-36, where TCU is the more physical team, got 21 offensive boards, it all pointed to the Horned Frogs pulling away. 44-34, the Frogs led the points in the paint battle. And instead, the end of the game, Texas Tech played the long game. TCU missed not just key shots, but also key free throws. And that's how the Red Raiders were able to pull this off at home. TCU, the better basketball team, I think. And based on what I watched last night, TCU was the better basketball team, but I still think Texas Tech is dangerous. I don't know what to do. Can I be honest with you? I was just kind of waiting for Texas Tech to either get really, really hot and be the best team in the Big 12 and me be able to go, oh, here's why they're great, or they drop off the face of the earth. And they lost those 3 games in a row, and I think it was like 4 out of 6. I thought, so now we can maybe point to why Texas Tech isn't that good, but I'm still in the middle of that. That is a good to great basketball team, and I can't exactly pinpoint, what is the one driving factor for why? Pop Isaacs, who's a really good basketball player? I'm struggling with that one. Let me know if you can help me out. In essence, last night, I learned that TCU, I think, is better than Texas Tech in basketball. Texas Tech can win. Texas Tech can close out. BYU needs to get better at the blowing teams out to truly lock themselves into a Sweet 16 scenario in March Madness. Games will get away from you if you don't. Get better at the blowing out thing because you had a perfect opportunity to do so against Baylor last night. This has been, it always will be. Hey, come back tomorrow. We're going to talk a lot more about the Big 12, obviously. Also, thanks for making that. Thanks for listening to the show. It makes me feel good when you do that. It does. This has been, it always will be. Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.